August 3, 2024, 14th Police District Council meeting. Thank you for all attending. Before we get started, we'll do roll call and just establish quorum. Councilor Vargas.
Present.
And Councilor Arlikoff.
Here.
And I am Councilor Runt, so we are all here. We do have a quorum, so we can continue our meeting. Okay, first and foremost, let's get into public comments. A little reminder about public comment. We're going to take about 20 minutes total, giving each speaker about 2 minutes per. Ask that everyone maintain decorum, no personal attacks, but we'd love to hear what your concerns are. So that being said, do you have any public comments? Ms. Portman.
Thanks to David, he asked me to mention this. Some of my neighbors have been asking if there's some sort of flow chart, like when we're victim of a crime. What do we do? How do we get people to encourage people to file formal reports of a crime? You know, whether it's a catalytic converter that my neighbors have stolen twice, or a hot wired of their daughter's car. And I said, I certainly hope you file a formal report, not just on 911. And so we did, and she said, is there some sort of handout that you have, and it's let me check.
All right, Ms. Portman, thank you for your comments. Councilor Orlick, I'll get our countdown timer ready to go.
Yeah, ready.
All right, and do we have any other comments? Yes, Ms. Heyman.
Hi, Sally Heyman. I want to raise a topic that I brought up at the last meeting concerning mailing lists, email lists. Commissioner Laurent, I believe you collected email sign-up sheets that were put out on the table. And then I know I signed up on some of those for months. Did you collect those, and did you use those as an email list that you used to send out to people to remind them of the meetings? And you did that for months. Then I think you gave that email list to Adam Burke.
No.
Although some of the people who signed up on that list still ended up on your list. But now you're saying that you're not going to do it anymore. So I am hoping that you will give that email list to, let's say, Ashley Rice, another counselor, who, and I haven't talked to her about this, but I'm hoping she would be willing to take that list and once again send out emails to everyone who has signed up for getting more information about these meetings. Our meetings have reduced in size drastically in the last few months. And several people that I know, I've asked them, and in fact I've sent them emails that David has sent to me, saying, hey guys, come to these, but they're not getting email reminders of these meetings. And I think that is a real serious problem. And I think you have really caused this problem, because you used to send them out, like every month for probably almost a year, and all of a sudden, once it started asking you if you give it a list to Adam, all of a sudden he said, oh, no, I can't send these out anymore. But that list still has to, I'm assuming the list still exists. Somebody collected those documents. And I would really like to get that list reestablished and used as a basis for sending things out.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Amy. Ms. Schmidt.
Thank you. Yeah, Allison Schmidt. I have sort of a follow-up question. So I too, like Sally, noticed that the last, I'll go back a step. So I think it's become really confusing when the meeting location, agenda, and minutes are being sent out. So I think they used to come from you, Chris. I just, or that's what you want. I just checked my emails because I saved all of the emails that come. Looks like you stopped sending them out around March 1st. Then there was a gap. I think then David has always been continuing his community outreach to send out, like, hey, there's a bike ride or this or that. And then I'm hearing, I read an email from Adam saying that it's Counselor Orlikoff's responsibility, and those aren't being done properly. So I think we maybe just need to talk about what the proper process is, because I think Sally's right. Meetings have completely attritioned to a certain extent. It's confusing when the meetings are going to be held, when they aren't, minutes, so on and so forth, and actually who's sending out the emails, in addition to the list question. So,
Thank you for your comments. Do we have any other public comment? Mr. Burke.
I'm glad this email questions come up, and I see that it's on the agenda, so I hope once and for all, we can clarify that, so that you don't have to go over that again and again. I read with interest this week an article in Block Club, I'm sure we all saw it. The title is "Fed Up with Robberies and Other Crimes, Logan Square Business Owners Beg Police for Help." And I was very happy to see Councilor Orlikoff and Councilor Vargas in photo of the meeting. So I think it's on the agenda, but I just wanted to make sure, because I would love to hear a discussion about who organized that, how was it announced, because I didn't hear about it, otherwise we would have loved to attend. If Councilor Vargas and Orlikoff have discussed anything that they learned at that meeting, and what would be the action taken.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Thank you for your comments. Do you have any other public comments? Mr. Tucker?
I'd like to comment on attendance dropping for a bit. I think a lot of that might have to do with what was exposed in Jim Daly's article that came out since the last meeting. And based on things that were exposed in that article, I think Councilor Orlikoff owes everybody an apology for his inappropriate behavior, the way he talked to Livestock's staff and himself, when he talked to CCPSA staff and leaders, and the way he's behaved around fellow councilors and constituents. I also would like for him to apologize for his hypocrisy. Because if you recall in the April meeting, there was a resolution that said, let me know, there are currently no committees of any kind or similar bodies of volunteers assisting with the work of the 14th Police District Council. 14th Police District Council is not approved or sanctioned, made requests of, or in any way acted to designate any entity or individuals having specific role in organization. That was in response to the committee that Burke had formed. However, he had mentioned at the June Logan Square Farmers Market that the council was interrelated with the first Ward United and United Neighbors of the 35th Ward. So I find that to be very peculiar, and perhaps maybe an explanation of that could be made. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Tucker. Remind me your name, please.
Michael Hill. I was at that farmer's market, and that's not exactly what happened. Those organizations were invited to be there on their own behalf, nothing to do with this. It was seen as an opportunity for community outreach, simply because the ward boundaries in that area are so mixed up that most individuals do not know even which ward they live in. I mean, you can walk across the street and you can go from the 35th to the 31st, or the first ward, literally by walking across the street. So it is a very crazy, convoluted, built area. So that's what happened that day, because I was one of the people at that table. So I know what went on there. It had nothing to do with this. It was meant simply for those organizations to speak out on their own.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Do we have any other public comments? Going once, going twice. All right, we're going to go ahead and close public comment, and that should conclude our interactive portion to this meeting. We're going to take care of the business of the council here. If you have questions that you want elaborate answers and want to dig a little deeper, please feel free to reach out to the individual council that's probably best suited to answer that question. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at approving the minutes. We've got 3 sets of minutes that we need to kind of go through here. And then we'll get into other items, such as updates and discussions and what have you. All right, so first on the deck, we've got the June 1st meeting minutes, which those that attended our meeting a couple weeks ago, our makeup meeting in July, these were postponed for pending further review by Councilor Vargas, and I proposed to you. These have the corrections that were mentioned in our makeup meeting on July 21st by Councilor Orlikoff, and so those corrections have been made, and now I present them to my colleagues for approval.
Yeah, so the reason I asked for an extension on approving these minutes is because there were several comments left out, including Allison's and mine, in response to Lauren's behavior. I honestly did not get a chance to, well, I asked my CCPSA community outreach coordinator to help amend these minutes, and they didn't get a chance to look them over and write them themselves, so there's not much I can amend right now. And for OMA, I feel like I'd be okay with approving these minutes until I get the amended version. Because according to like the ordinance, we have to approve them today.
Right,
In this meeting.
right.
So I'm okay with moving forward on approval until I get the amended version from my community outreach coordinator.
Okay, well, I mean, these can still be edited, and I can make notes of the edits that you want to make currently
Okay.
now. So if there's anything that you'd like to change or amend it or whatever, now is a good time to do it. It'd be improper, according to Robert's Rules of Order, in which we manage these meetings, for us to make an amendment to meetings that were already voted in. So that's my concern there.
Well, I don't have anything to amend or add right now to these minutes, and if in the future we would like to amend, I would like to take a vote on that. So approval of minutes today.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the June 1, 2024 regular meeting minutes? Or did you need more time? I'm sorry, I didn't even confer with you.
One minute, I'm not sure.
Certainly, take your time. I want these to
I
be
just brought
accurate.
my notes and that. I'm fine, and I'll motion to approve the minutes.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes from our regular meeting held on June 1, 2024? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposing, say nay. Move as passed. All right, next I have, I know these are gonna seem a little unnecessary on the surface, but these are the July 6, 2024 meeting, which did not actually take place, but we did have the presentation, which we've added into our archive, so I wanted to go ahead and document it in. As you can see, it's very light on content, with the exception of the discussions box, which has a link to the OEMC brief that was presented that day.
I was not in attendance.
Well,
So I will support the council rendition of these.
As I mentioned, the only item of note is the,
And I see there's a link to a video, so
Right,
that
right.
seems good to me. I have no objection.
okay, so do we have a motion to pass July 6, 2024 meeting minutes? Even though it's not officially a meeting, we did have a presentation that was put into our archive. So do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, I motion to approve July 6th minutes.
And do I have a second?
Second.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Moved as. All right, catching up, July 21, which was our last meeting that actually took place in place of the July 6th meeting. All right, and if you need time to look this over, we can come back to it after we get into our discussions and everything like that. I'm willing to, because like I said, there's quite a bit to go through there.
I'm sorry, I don't, are you, I'm okay
Yeah,
with.
if you'd like to take more,
Yeah,
yeah, if you'd like to take time to, and we will table it for a vote later, if that's what you prefer to do. Want to make certain that, nothing is misrepresented there.
Councilor Vargas, do you have an opinion?
No opinion.
own
like
copy of the minutes as well.
Right, but you're chair, so if I can just get this beforehand and I can review it, it would just be a better process and it would be a faster process than people sitting through this.
I agree.
Okay. So you agree, you will send it
That,
beforehand?
I didn't say that.
How are the minutes produced?
Well,
Who does that?
I've been doing it. I've been doing it. It's fallen on my shoulders.
Okay,
Because it's
and-
chair,
and
that's his
Is
No, it's
there
not.
any way that you can send those out to people in advance of it? Not only the counselors, but, you know, people like me who are coming to every meeting for months, so that we can take a look at them?
Well, they're not
Some of the
publishable
minutes
until they're
that I
voted on.
read don't seem to be very accurate. They don't put everything in.
Well, the public comments are verbatim.
And not always.
Yes,
Yeah,
they are.
I've seen mine missing personally.
Yeah, I know I've made some couple comments that didn't show at all in the minutes.
All right, I'm gonna ask
So
for order.
that's why I'm curious about how that.
I'm gonna ask for order in the room, please. All right, so where are we on this? Do we want to delay the vote, for later on in this meeting?
I'm,
Or do I have a
in the
motion?
middle, or I was reviewing it, but if we want to delay it, I'm fine with
No,
it.
it's perfectly fine with me. If you'd rather go through it now, it's perfectly fine. If you'd like to delay it, I'm more than happy to do so.
It seems like, I don't know, maybe Councilor Vargas wanted to, did you want to delay?
We don't have to delay it, I just want to let it system.
Okay, so, all right, one more minute to just,
Take your time, take your time.
I guess I would like to, outside of here, to, suggest some edits to my discussion portion. So I would, I guess, ask
To delay the vote.
would it be possible for you to send me a copy just of this file for the purpose of me making those changes?
You want the PDF?
Oh, it's a PDF?
Yes.
Okay, then I guess I'll just.
No, I mean, I can share it with you. If you'd like to delay it for vote at the next meeting, I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah, yes, please.
All right. Can we get a motion on the table to delay the vote for next regular meeting?
I'd like to motion to delay the vote to approve the July 21st minutes.
And for the September
September 7th.
7th meeting. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Moved as passed. We will delay the vote until September 7th. All right. That being said, district council updates. That's our next item. Councilor Vargas, going to provide some updates that you may have.
I really liked Adam's question. I was hoping to speak about the meeting we had with the businesses because it's so important. It's in like the heart of the 14th district. It's like where people like to hang out, where people want to feel safe, right? No time of day, any time of day. And so I believe the people who organized that was the Logan Chamber of Commerce. And it was brought about from one of the business owners. I think her name is Viviana. She has a fine jewelry store, and she asked for this meeting because, again, because of the robberies, and she just wanted to create like a co-governance type of situation. She wanted to see what's being done in regards to CPD handling these requests. I mean, these incidents, these calls that they get. I think it was really, really interesting. A lot of the people who go into these businesses have mental health issues. And CPD mentioned that they have enough training for them, that the business owners shouldn't be the ones, dealing with the mental health people coming into their stores, that they should always call CPD because they're trained to do so. And I have to beg to differ. I don't think they're trained enough to handle people with mental health crises. because of history of CPD. A beautiful thing that was brought about, people were asking for more police, for people on bikes. The businesses were asking for police to be on bikes. What the commander said was that there's not enough people and that the bike resources are going to different areas in 14th District. Some of them are going into Humboldt Park, where they're most needed. That's how she distributes the resources. My counteract to that is that we can fight for a small business grant fund, where if incidents like robberies, like break-ins, graffiti, anything like that, where the city has funds to deal with those incidents. I think that would be a wonderful solution where we can invest into as a city and as business owners. And I don't think that meeting, I see you shaking your head, but it's okay. I don't think that meeting was open to the public. It was only business owners in the 14th District. Yeah.
So what business do you own?
I'm a district councilor.
I'm gonna ask for order, please.
Yeah.
Any other updates? Council Barbers?
Other updates, I got the opportunity to go to Oakland and meet with electeds from all over the nation and see the work they're doing. It was very beautiful. It was my first time in California, and it was where I got the idea with the small business grant funds, because other cities are doing it. My other update would be surrounding, I see a new phase surrounding the 14th District and police accountability. There was, an incident where there was a sergeant who was saying very derogatory comments to newcomers who were staying at the police stations last year. And so I organized a group of neighbors to go to COPA, and we testified against the sergeant, and it was finally sustained. So after a year-long process, it was sustained in June. The only thing is that she retired in December, so no justice is served. And then regarding, there was another incident where a police officer went to a home of one of our neighbors in the 14th District to ask for a migrant. And he went to the home with very big guns. So I helped the migrants file a COPA complaint. And then with that COPA complaint, the newcomers received a call from the 14th District that was intimidating in nature. And still there, it's not very clear what's been going on. I feel like BIA didn't sustain the incidents that happened, and that just goes into a deeper conversation about the accountability system. Because I met with Deborah from OIG, and I met with Andrea from COPA, and with the executive director, Adam Gross, to talk about how these COPA cases have been bouncing around from agency to agency, and there's been no accountability there, and there's been no contact between the three different accountability agencies. So it might require an ordinance change to give COPA more power, and to get rid of BIA, the power of them investigating intimidation within CPD. I think that would be a good start. That's where my head is at. If anybody has any comments or ideas, I'm always free to chat. I think that would be, regarding the DNC, I emailed the commander asking for just an update on what to expect, what to do those 3 days. So if you would like, I don't like public reading out loud, but if you would like me to the email, I can. Not for yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So it said, following up on what I mentioned at the meeting last week, the 14th district will have all officers working. None will be furloughed and all days off have been canceled. All officers will be working 12-hour shifts. Each shift will have more officers than usual due to canceled days off and no furloughs. The day shift and the night shift will be working in district. As far as the afternoon watch, most will be detailed to the DNC, and any other detailed to DNC will be in district. And any others not detailed to DNC will be in district. As far as what to expect, I'd expect a higher volume of tourists and visitors to our entertainment corridors. As I expect, they will like to check out all our diverse neighborhoods, what our diverse neighborhoods have to offer. The 14th district will be prepared to respond to anything that may pop up. I hope this helps. So, I appreciate the email. It was a little bit vague on how many officers will be on duty. So if you all have further questions, I encourage you to email her and attach me. Or email her and let me know how it goes. But yeah.
Yeah, I would consider most of the, since it's at United Center, and it's probably, 2 miles from here, we're probably somewhat in the corridor of that, but, so maybe that area going up Damon.
Yeah, when I went to the Public Safety Committee in the 26th Ward, they did mention that there may be right-wing protests that day. It's something to expect. So the no, it's there may be. So it can.
So why would we just say protest?
All right, we're gonna have to ask for order.
Thank you.
Pardon?
So I'm sorry, I should just say protests in general, but there will be in all neighborhoods throughout Chicago. So the advice for that is do not engage or be supportive. But I acknowledge your comment and apologies. So there will be protests throughout all of Chicago. Yeah.
Take your update.
Yeah, I believe that completes it. Do you have a question?
I just wanted to make a comment, according to the Black Cloud article, anyone arrested is going to be taken to Belmont and Central for processing. Did I understand that correctly?
To Grand and Central?
Excuse me, Belmont and Western.
Yeah.
Belmont and Webster? Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds correct.
It just means that we're gonna have more people that go in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's something to expect. So thank you all. I'm done.
Thank you for your updates. Call on Council Rollicroft to share his update.
Thank you. First update, I completed 16 hours of restorative justice training, specifically on circuit keeping at Build, which Build is at 5100 West Harrison, and they're on there. It would something like that would normally be probably $500, but they do it free every quarter. And they do 2 versions, an evening and a day version. So the day version is still coming up. I believe the 19th to the 19th through the 22nd, from like 10 to 3 p.m. So you can sign up for that, or I guess ask me if you're interested. Yeah, from 19th to the 22nd. All right, next update. The survey, there are copies on the table. We want to hear from you. Just try to make it simple. It doesn't actually look simple, but it's only 2 questions. So please take a look at that if you haven't yet. We did some redesigns on, next up about our calendars and meetings. Not directly responding, but related to some discussions about publicizing these meetings. Earlier this year, we published an accurate annual calendar that has only not been accurate for the meeting where I was sick, and then we had a makeup meeting. But we will be at all these locations, so you can go and add to your calendar every time that we're gonna meet for the rest of the year and where. With the caveat that, I have the incorrect number listed. It says Saturday, September 6th, but Saturday is actually the 7th. We always, meet on the Saturday. And Saturday, October 4th is actually the 5th. And that's, I think we've already corrected that, but just in one of the print runs. Well, actually, yeah, that has been incorrect on the website before we corrected it. This flyer has the old incorrect thing. But so, number one is to try to use our accurate annual calendar. And, as long as we're meeting in these libraries, it's pretty easy. We'll be able to do this again for the meetings for next year. So you don't have to wait for 48 hours ahead of time to find out, when the meeting is going to be. You can add them, you can preload them all. And yeah, if anybody wants to get on the list for receiving my newsletter, who is not currently receiving it, you can also on the survey has the contact info, but the bit.ly/do14news. I've had that for some time. Sometimes I forget to include it on things, but you can also, if anybody emails me or gives me their email and says that they want to be on it, I have the sign up there that says the newsletter for Councilor Warlicott. So yeah, so you can. The easiest way to share it is maybe if bit.ly/do14news, which is on the handout. So if anybody that would like to be getting notices but is not. I want to fix that by getting them signed up. Next, I mentioned briefly last time a bike ride. We were more involved in the first bike ride in Humboldt Park, but the 25th District Council, Saul Arellano, he's spearheading again the round 2, and I have it on the agenda to vote to officially endorse this event, but some of the counselors will be there, and so then you can grab a flyer, but this is going to be, Saturday, August 10th, starting at 9 a.m. with free bike checks, and then having free food in the park after the ride. This time it's going to be in Cos Park, but they'll ride through Logan Square and Humboldt Park, and then back to Kosciuszko. So it's at 2732 North Avers, and leaving about 9:30 and back, by 11:30 with food to follow. And I'll touch briefly on, yes, I did attend a meeting where Commander Linus, as well as a representative from the detective area bureau, were present, along with business community and 2 of the alder people for the 35th and 1st wards. I can't, there are a lot of things about the event that I cannot speak to because I did not organize it, but I received an invitation, in my official capacity, so didn't specify anything about promoting it, or anything like that. But I did attend, and there was discussion related to our first public comment, where the detective was bringing up, and possibly other officers were bringing up, how their response can vary depending on the steps that the victim may or may not take. So they didn't have a handout on that, but they had a few handouts on protecting yourself from things like carjacking and general safety, because reducing the opportunity is oftentimes a good way to protect yourself from certain things. I don't have a lot of copies of this, unfortunately, but there's a couple other things on the table. And yeah, so the one thing we learned is that within the Detective Bureau, under Brandon Johnson, they've split the workload so that there's dedicated homicide detectives and now dedicated robbery detectives. So they're going to be pursuing in a more concerted way some of the cases, involving strings of robberies of serial offenders and those types of things. Yeah, that might be the main takeaway, I guess, from that. And we also have it for the discussion, so if people want to ask questions later, that's fine. Does it for updates.
All right, thank you, Councilor Warlicott. All right, just a quick rundown, a couple of updates that I have for everybody. I attended the commission meeting held by the TCPSA, the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability that was held on July 25, where I got to see our new permanent commission in action, and I'm pretty impressed by what I've seen thus far. I also attended the 19th District Council meeting on July 31st. Got to listen to a panel of attorneys talk about where we are with the Safety Act, the pros and cons thereof. And I also attended, I didn't get a chance to attend the public safety meeting that my colleagues attended. However, I did participate in the Walk the Blocks, the Lemonade Sip and Shop event that they had, and I had the opportunity to introduce myself to not just the proprietors, but also to the employees, because when people come into the 14th District and they work an 8-hour shift, they might not be residents, but they're still impacted by the public safety that we offer. So I created that channel of communication for people to reach out to me, get the dialogue moving where we can focus on not just our residents, but also our business proprietors and the employees in which they're in charge of taking care of. So we kind of always be willing and open to taking care of everybody that comes into the 14th District. Let's see, one other thing, two more things. The National Night Out. I got a flyer here. For those that are uninitiated to the National Night Out, this is a national event that takes place with all police districts throughout the U.S. It's usually the first Tuesday of August, and this is no different. It will be August 6th. I believe it starts at 4:30 p.m. at Haas Park, which is located at 2402 North Washington Avenue, and Washington, sorry, as pronounced it. I attended last year and I had a great time. I plan to be there. I don't know if my colleagues have any intention to do so. I'd love to interact with more people and hear how I can make lives better. And for what it's worth, Batman's going to be there according to the flyer. And I've also been working on crafting an official email e-communications policy. We're going to be going through that. We're not actually going to vote on it today, but we're going to discuss it and give some allowances for people to chime in and tweak and set it in before we bring it into a proper vote. So that's pretty much what I've been doing with my July outside of the business meetings here. All right. That being said, we can move forward with discussions.
Okay, thanks. So to start off, under police accountability, some updates on the policy that we endorsed here to end pretextual traffic stops. The Free to Move Coalition presented their petition signatures to the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability at their meeting on the 27th, Thursday, and the minimum threshold to require that the commission holds a public hearing on any topic, listed is 2,000, and I was told that we turned in 2,400. So some of those, a couple of them, might have been chicken scratch or something, but that's a healthy, buffer. Anyway, so that was submitted. So the important update is that the commission scheduled a hearing date, and that is going to be August 27th. And the time is assumed to be 6 p.m., assumed, but the location is to be determined. So, it may end up that it's held at Malcolm X or Kennedy King or something, but that is not decided yet. But yes, the 27th is set for a hearing date on pretextual traffic stops, a public hearing where you all can attend and participate certainly in the public comments. And they also said that they wanted to be hearing from the community, but not sure if that means something beyond public comment. Yeah, I guess that's, yeah. And then there were also a couple new articles, including, I don't know if I mentioned, but Amy Chin, data reporter at WBEZ, wrote an article about how pretextual traffic stops have started to decline in most areas relative to last year, which was the absolute height of them. However, in the 14th and 25th districts, in Logan Square specifically, including some of the areas that we heard about, they've actually increased. So, without being able to give definitive answers, there's somewhat of an impression based on this data and the timing of it, that after Dexter Reed's death, there was a little bit of a shift away from arresting black people quite as frequently. They're still targeted disproportionately by far the most of any group. But that's trended down from, say, 7 times to citywide to like 5 times citywide maybe. So what we've actually seen is an increase in pretextual stops of Latino drivers, specifically in the 14th and 25th police districts. And again, this is an article on WBEZ. And lastly, a connection with the business meeting, we heard there a lot of frustration about 911 calls receiving a slow response, the quality and attention to the response there. And I did ask one question at the end to the commander, if we should, referencing this data that was not published yet, and asking if traffic stops was an area that they could look at in order to shift priorities. You can't increase priorities for everything all at once, so the question is, if this is what we want them to do, what are they doing? And in the 14th district, traffic stops have actually increased even this year. Okay, so yeah, those are the updates that I have on pretextual stops. Are there any other co-councilors with questions?
Any questions about that, Council Roberts? Maybe good one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad to hear that the petition reached the threshold and it had the effect that was desired. I'm curious if there's an easy answer on how the district councils and councilors could force the CCPSA to have a hearing without going through the petition process.
If you don't mind. Well, thank you for the question. We have we're not structured in that way, where we have a formal control over them. Our formal control ends with the nominating of the candidates. But in terms of exerting political pressure ourselves and also representing our communities to the best of our ability, I think we all definitely want to be parts of those conversations. We are in the ordinance required to be sending them trends and concerns, at a minimum, trends and concerns identified from conversations with the community. But in terms of demanding how they act into that is not a formal mechanism. Then lastly, to wrap up, currently 36 district councilors, which is a decisive majority across the city, have formally endorsed ending pretextual traffic stops with the 3-point policy platform, the same thing that was voted on by this council. Although that list, I don't know, does not include one of the councilors here. Sorry. Any other questions? Okay. Around the bias association order, so at the CCPSA meeting, one of the new commissioners, Avieri Minor, I hope I'm not butchering her name, she introduced new business at the end of the meeting, calling her attention to looking into the BIA's, the Bureau of Internal Affairs' lack of action regarding the accused racist officers who are still on the force, or the officers known to be members at one point of the Oath Keepers and or Proud Boys. So she referenced directly the OIG's, the Inspector General's reporting about BIA's investigations where finding them materially deficient, that the OIG has said the same thing, that I share their opinion, as well as we've heard from the Suffering Positive Law Center, Jeff Dischauser's often here, and we have, I have copies of his letter if anybody needs that. But anyway, the Internal Affairs investigation found no wrongdoing, but the reason they found no wrongdoing is because the investigation was deficient. What the Bureau Chief had said was that just because they were members of an organization didn't matter if they didn't say that they were racist. So they literally asked them, do you hold, like racist beliefs? What was this motivated by? And because they didn't tell us that they had racist motivations, then that means they weren't racist. So what Deborah Witzberg, the OIG chief, or the Inspector General, what she said about that was that this new standard that BIA is public about now. But according to the standards, somebody who's an ex-member of the KKK could join CPD, provided that they don't tell investigators that they hold racist motivations. So that's concerning to a lot of people, including the new commissioner, Iberi Minor, who has said that it's going to be the focus of her work on the commission, and they're going to be following up on. Specifically, OIG also had a recommendation that the city and mayor's office create an interdepartmental task force to find the solution moving forward, because sometimes with these things, there are questions of jurisdiction and how to untangle it and where to go from here. But I am very interested in Iberi Minor's taking a new approach to this. Yeah.
That's this question. So the OIG can make recommendations, but they can't like mandate. CPD can say, yes, I will, or no, I won't. How does that process, is that accurate? An accurate statement?
To my understanding,
Okay.
I believe so. Okay, Sal?
Yeah, just kind of along the same lines, I put in a complaint to COPA in June, towards the end of June, regarding Michael Nowicki, who's a 14th district oath keeper, identified as such, and who was cleared by the BIA. And I said it was an insufficient, my reason for the COPA investigation was it was an insufficient investigation, and I wanted an in-depth and public investigation to take place. I got a call last week from COPA saying that they have taken my complaint and given it back to the BIA. Which she said the reason that happens is because the COPA does not have the provenance, I guess, is able to handle those kinds of issues. And I asked, well, can I take it to the OIG? And she said, yes, you could try that, but there's no guarantee that anything will come of that. So that my complaint is now back in BIA. I have not had a chance this week to call, but I'm going to call them next week and see what I can find out about my specific complaint. But yeah, I really think it's important that we as individuals and this group follow up on these issues. Because if you look at Michael Nowicki, here in the 14th district, he has a whole history of complaints and issues that go back, there's at least 9 of them in addition to the oath keeper situation. And I got that from the Southern Christian Leadership Group, a lot more of those details. What I would like to do is send a letter, an email to Commander Linus, and let her know what has happened with my COPA complaint that has gone to the BIA, and include all those additional instances of bad conduct that have been documented. My understanding from Commissioner Laurent is that I'm not supposed to email Commander Linus myself directly.
That's not accurate.
What?
That's not accurate.
Okay, but in that case, I will do that, and I will copy you all as well.
Thank you. We had a hand up in the back.
I had a question regarding the email communication. Maybe this gets straightened up later, but like, are the emails you send out official communications of the council?
No. But they're official communications of a member of the council, but no, no.
If it's not, is using your city email the proper
Yes.
means to do that?
Yes, of course.
Is that part of your role as community outreach? I forget what some of your roles are. Is that your current role?
That's up for debate. I think we're getting a little off topic, but that we have, yeah, sorry. I don't know if I can, I wanted to give a very quick response wrap up. Yeah, so for as far as next steps, because we've discussed this some and we haven't been sure of the next steps, I appreciate getting the updates from Sally on that personal process following through. In general, before this policy was set in stone, I and others were criticizing placing the jurisdiction with CPD Internal Affairs, anticipating that they would not ever do a good job at this. So, you know, there is a jurisdictional problem currently. I do think that a good path forward would be following OIG's recommendations for the interdepartmental path, the city task force. And I think, yeah, so watching Commissioner Minor, if you're interested, you can attend the next CCPSA meeting. You could give comment on it, and you could see what updates they give. They also have it online, et cetera. But I'm looking, and I might send a thank you to Commissioner Minor for taking on this issue. But yeah, so we have some, I think a good goal would be to try to press for the city to implement OIG's recommendation to look into this as a systemic issue. Yeah. Councilor Vargas, anything on police accountability?
On accountability?
No.
Okay, I just want to chime in real quick. You made mention in regards to the letter that kind of put together for the commission on behalf of the council, and you alluded to the fact that there's one present counselor that has to be removed from that list. And I wanted to take the time to explain my reasoning behind that. Yes, we voted to move it forward and counsel to the commission's view. That doesn't give you license to sit there and attach my name to any and other things that I haven't reviewed. That's why I asked for my name to be omitted, because it was brought to my attention rather that my name was just automatically included in there. And it's like, okay, well, I don't provide agency for people to just because I whispered, ice cream one day that somebody says I endorse that, this particular brand of ice cream. So just to be clear, if you give me the opportunity to look over it again, and as long as it's in line with everything we've already voted on, yes, I'll go ahead and put my name on it, but at least like the opportunity to review it before I put my name to it. That's why I asked for my name to be omitted. All right, restorative justice. Marcus, you got anything you want to talk about? I know that the item on here is about building, but
No update. I hope to attend the one coming up.
well, something tells me that our colleague here is going to tell us.
I'll
all the highs and
be
lows.
pretty brief. Well, no, definitely not. One of the rules is not to share specific stories from other people there to help with their comfort in sharing there. But yeah, so from August 19th to 22nd, you can still sign up that's when it'll be held, a longer version, during the day, August 19th through 22nd, and they do have them every 3 months, a day and an evening one, and they're free and billed. Anywhere else it would be more expensive. I'll give a phone number. So for Chrissy Vasquez, was like the training signups. The office number is 773-227-2880. 227-2880, and the cell is listed as 773-491-5248, 491-5248. It was in my newsletter, but ask me if you need more information on that. So it was a training, I'll say just briefly, it was a training to become a circle keeper, to hold these circles. I am intrigued by some of the possibilities, but I'm not planning to currently lead one. I don't think that, not because of the training, but myself personally, I don't think it's necessarily my natural strength, so something that I would definitely practice more first. But I was looking to try to improve my own patience and understanding for my own behavior. Right, was my primary reason for attending. That's about it.
All right, I've got nothing to add to that discussion, so we'll move into the evidence-based approaches to community safety, where we're going to talk a little bit more into this public safety meeting with the business owners, from my understanding.
Yes. Yeah, right. So at this point, you heard two of the councilors speak some about it. Are there other questions related to that? I'll just, reiterate, my two takeaways were the implementation of assigned roles within the detective department is coming into existence. So detectives, some of the detectives, their only job will be looking at things like robberies instead of being pulled between looking at a robbery versus looking at a homicide or another capital offense. And then also related to the comment that, yeah, there was discussion around some points of education for the community. So, I think that can be something moving forward, both in prevention and also the process of engaging with the police as the victims say. And yeah, lastly, my personal takeaway is that, related to the survey, the priorities are not matching. We're having an increase in traffic stops when what people are saying is they don't feel safe because they can't get a response when they call 911.
Councilor Lucas?
Just like emphasis on the calls, I think there was a lot of chat around that with CPD and the community members. CPD explained that it goes through OMC, and there's a couple of different categories, and unfortunately, the fact that they called after a robbery isn't like a top category where they send immediate dispatch. Because the people, the business owners were complaining that people literally just walk out. They just walk out. And CPD isn't responding fast enough. So, a lot of work to be done on response time and how officers are used and distributed. Maybe more transparency around that on CPD's part would be beneficial for the public. That was my main takeaway. Also, I think the small business grant fund is a great idea for small business owners, like the ones we have on Milwaukee Avenue.
All right, my only question, because I learned about this from the Block Club article. I wasn't even informed of a meeting. I'd like to know how I can get on the mailing list for when things like this come out, so that I can participate and glean something from it, get a perspective on it.
Maybe get in touch with Logan Square Chamber of Commerce.
That's who, if I sent the email to both of you, I guess. Would that be correct, to assume that they're the one that reached out to you directly?
I think my email came from staff in the Facebook board on it.
So to your other people.
I can't speak to, yeah, I can't really speak to Dr. decide on what I said there.
Okay, perfectly fine. Like I said, I just trying to sniff that out to figure out how I can be engaged.
If I was more involved in it, I would have
People
done it.
and businesses in the area.
I don't know if you're doing it.
I'm done. Mr. Varga?
I just wanted to say, I find it incredibly encouraging, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I thought I heard is that you heard people in the community, business owners, talking about the impact that crime is having on them, their employees, and their ability to serve our community, and that you're hearing that that is indeed a problem. And in addition, you're hearing things about what
On our September 7th meeting, and Councilor Orlikov, you have on your vote to endorse the Community Bike Ride for Peace. I'd like to give your elevator pitch on that.
Yep. So the first one was a success. We were more involved in the first one. This one, just more of a supporting role. But it is starting in College Park. I think in the 25th district, just outside our border. But most of the ride will be through the 14th district, through Logan Square into Humboldt Park itself. Yeah, I don't know. It's a low lift. I don't think much is required of us. You're welcome to attend, but it's a community bike ride for peace with free food. The underlying theory in general, space activation. One thing we heard is that some people feeling fearful don't want to be out in public as much, whether it's in certain areas or certain times. Even if they haven't, experienced or seen anything there, that can have a compounding effect. And you don't want people to be unsafe, but an event like this is extremely safe, an extremely safe event that helps people to be out and in the community holding space there.
And you have a motion?
Are there any questions or points of discussion?
Councilor Vargas, I'll give you your first crack.
if you have a bike and it needs to be fixed, I think in the beginning they fix the bikes, right?
Yeah, bike checks at night.
Bike checks,
Yeah,
yeah.
from West Town Bikes. And so I'm just asking, that the council endorses, this
I
amendment.
noticed it.
Okay, just like last time, and it's gonna sound like a broken record, considering our capacity here, we're supposed to be bridging the gap between police and the community at large, are the police involved, in any way?
I have to say I do not know. Yeah, again, my involvement in this one has not been, actively organizing it.
No, that's not, and I can respect and understand that. Just like I said, I mean, because earlier in the meeting, we also talked about bicycle patrol police and everything like that. I think that there's a lot of value to be added in that, and if it could be considered for either this one or further ones, I generally appreciate that, and I think, the community would as well. I think there's nothing like that benefit, coming out of it, so that's my own.
Sorry, one thing I can say is, also, okay, so Westbound Bikes are doing the bike marshaling. Also, Alliance of Local Service Organizations, and Bill, together are doing safety, and both of them Bill does a lot of things, that's also where I was trained, but, those organizations do street safety in a number of ways, and one of the ways that they create safety is by having a level of comfort with people that might be more at risk of criminal behavior. Sorry, not to be around, but Bill can also hire ex-offenders to practice restorative justice. They de-escalate in the community. So if they see people that are making other people feel unsafe based on how they're hanging around, on a corner or something, they will go and talk to them in a way that just fully de-escalates the situation. And there are sometimes situations where the presence of police, totally changes the response from certain people. And so they're in some of the work that Bill would also do, they explicitly do not involve police. There are some ways that there are sometimes that they might need to call police, or it's not fully exclusionary, but it depends on the situation and the circumstance, what's called for. I'm not necessarily saying that this ride could not have officer-friendly present or somebody on a bike. But just to answer the question in terms of underlying philosophy, I know that Building also are handling safety. I do not know about police attendance there.
Right. Please.
Building also agreed because with our previous commander, they would work collaboratively with her regarding like Puerto Rican Parade or any other festivals in the area. They work collaboratively with our previous commander, NCPD. It'd be interesting to know if they have that same level of communication with Linus, and I think it'd be a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, and like I said, I can understand that working with police is outside the scope of Building also. Completely understand and completely respect that. And that where they're not near as motivated as we are with being the fact that we're the police district council. Like I said, part of our role is to sit there and bridge that gap, be that conduit of communication between the community and the police. And I think if we're going to hold events like this, we should at least extend an invite, whether or not they show that's a different story altogether. And I don't think that's unreasonable to bring up. That's the only thing that I say.
I encourage you to organize something with police.
I don't think it's unreasonable to bring up. Our charge includes developing, initiatives that the community priorities over policing, as well as restorative justice. And I think that not every single thing that we do would necessarily contain both or, in the same proportions. But I can promise you that going forward, when I am in organizing communications, I will do my best to include a question about police attendance if they have been requested, or if they're open to us extending that invitation. So going forward, I will try to ask that question to find out. Yeah, so to include that component. Yeah. So thank you for that. I would ask, if there's no further discussion, I would ask to hold a vote to endorse the Connecting Neighborhoods Bike Ride on August 10th.
So we have a motion
Motion to vote to endorse the community bike ride on August 10th.
and do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
It passes as presented. All right, any other items that we need to talk about before we get into the fine details? Well, we're gonna share that and we'll discuss that offline. No, we're not offline. I'm gonna share it with you. I shared it with you. I think I shared it with Councilor Vargas as well, because I hit the whole email, and I think Damon also got a copy of it. But I'd want people to take a better look into it before we bring it up into a discussion vote. Make certain it represents fairness and that we're doing everything that we can to make a good, sound policy.
So sorry,
We skipped, yeah, we tabled it.
sorry, I missed that a little bit. I mean, obviously it's fine to table the vote. I thought you said that we would discuss it some, but I gave a comment. So I mean, have you had an updated that I haven't seen yet?
No, I haven't. I've been taking care of other matters and everything like that. So, like I said, and I think that's another reason why we should delay the evening discussion portion of it, so that we have fully read in and we have a full and markup.
I fully read it, but sorry, I thought that we would have an option, or there was some public discussion also about the plan discussion around this. I don't have to focus on the policy you submitted, but I guess I'd like to say one or two things. Sorry. So from my perspective, right, we're not, the Open Meetings Act does not legally require the council to have a newsletter. The sign-up sheets, that I operate say that we're signing up for the newsletter from Councilor Orlikoff. Yeah, my email, anything that I'm using with the auspices of the city government are under my office. We each have our own individual, we each are our own individual elected official. And we weren't elected to be community or chair or anything. We're all just elected 14 members. What we are members of the 14th District Council, which is an elected official position. So yeah, we can do things in our own official capacity. And people should not assume that the things we do outside of these meetings constitute the voice or the will of the entire council, for the reason that we cannot make official decisions outside of these public meetings. So in fact, everything that we do independently is under our own office, not representing the other council. So that's number one. And then, yeah, so number two, I operate a newsletter, and I attempt to do my best at that, to send out notices at least once before any public meeting or event that we're holding. That's the main thing. And then secondarily, to include everybody who signs up with me, and disclude anybody who asks to be discluded. That's the core of it. If there are other issues related to my newsletter in relation to the 14th District Council, I am open, to discussing that and best practices going forward. But I don't have a plan to stop or significantly alter how I'm conducting my newsletter. That's about all I have to say about it. We're not really in a discussion, but I would be okay if you think it, but to recognize there is a question.
All right. So I mean. Excuse me. You're sending a lot of like this, because you send your newsletter from your email with the city, you're sending out notices for a lot of organizations and stuff that perhaps the council itself did not, sanction or whatever, so I think when it comes from, I'm a little confused, because it's coming from your email address, you're sharing events for organizations that haven't sanctioned, so that's why I'm kind of, why, if you're gonna be doing that, that's why I think it might be wrong to be sending it from your, city email address, if you're gonna be promoting organizations, whatever, that are sanctioned.
I guess I mean, start to, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't share your perspective, and I'm not sure what the basis of that is, but, you know, a corollary would be every single alderperson sends all sorts of things. None of them get approval from any other alders for anything they do. We are certainly not alders, but we are not a three-headed beast. Each one of us is independently elected. And, you know, the email isn't coming from the 14th District Council, it's coming from Dave Rowe. So thank you for allowing me to speak on that.
No, that's fine, that's fine. No, and just for, and I'm not gonna go into the details. Basically, the proposed, policy that we are currently working on, that I've been working rather arduously on, is basically coming up with an official channel of communication from the three heads in front of you singing, and of course, no solos. How those lists are managed, who does the actual involvement, and we can be a rotating aspect of things if need be. And it's more of a clearinghouse where you're not getting an individual email from one of us, you're getting an email from all the three of us as a combined. That being said, I don't think it's really a secret that getting us together and all agreeing on one particular item, the agenda is quite a monster to put together sometimes. Being in agreement and putting out information is kind of challenging, but I think that you know, as long as you know, we can sit there and say, okay, what's in the best interest of not me but our community, that we can really put together some information and put it out there accordingly. Now, a lot of the management on this is going to be how that list is formed, where the information comes from. Going to have a subscribe, unsubscribe aspect on there, because we're always worried about people's data privacy and things like that. So that's of the utmost importance as well. But like I said, we've got a lot of weeds to clear and get some fine brush strokes on this before we actually bring it up into discussion. And that's why I've shared this with my colleagues so that we can come up with an understanding of, okay, this is the best way forward. That way we facilitate the needs of the community as well. Yes, Ms. Aaron.
Can you share that with attendees to these meetings yet?
I would rather the three of us get together, make our edits and markups before we get to, and when we present it in for a discussion format, yes, of course, we'll share that with you for your review as well. Anything else on that? Can we get a motion to adjourn? And, oh wait, man, you guys almost let me forget. So, next meeting, September 7th, as Councilor Earlycoff brought up, 1 p.m. at the Bucktown Wicker Park Library, which is located at 1701 North Milwaukee Avenue. Yes?
Sorry, on the subject of next meetings, I tentatively planning to have speakers at the September and October meetings. Well, October will be the Inspector General's office attending, and September I'm planning to have Carlton Mayers III speaking about the Safety Act, or specifically about police decertification and certification. One of the provisions in the Safety Act allows you to file to request that a police officer be decertified so they cannot be rehired in any department. And it's a very new thing and not well understood. So I'm hoping to give us a primer on police decertification in the Safety Act from, I believe, one of the authors of the legislation. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so as mentioned, September 7th meeting where we'll have the OIG Office of Inspector General with giving a presentation.
September or October?
September.
September decertification, October OIG.
Okay.
Sorry.
So wait, that's
the September 7th meeting, having a primer on decertification, and the October meeting having the Office of Inspector General.
All right, so, just to recapitulate for the record, September 7, 2024, gonna have a presentation by the decertification. I'm looking to learn more into what that means. That is gonna be at 1 o'clock at the Bucktown Wicker Park Library, otherwise the address at 1701 North Milwaukee Avenue. That being said, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All right, we are now adjourned. Time now is 1:26. 2:26.